So, welcome back, listeners, to another edition of Corporate Elements. So, we are joined with Nathan today, who is a
integration engineer.
Yeah, I cannot make that up. I couldn't get that. But let's start this session on a high note. Robbie, take it from here.
Speaking of the recent events when DeepSeek R1, a Chinese model, which was launched, and it substantially impacted US financial markets, leading to financial loss to Nvidia, around 600 billion. And the question hovers around that the model is an open source. So you tell me, can I integrate it in my application?
Okay, so first of all, Johnny and Robbie, thank you for having me on this podcast. Okay, and I'll just brief about my role. So as an integration engineer, I work on APIs. So basically, API is an interface that connects your front end to the back end. So let me know if you are not aware about these terms, then I can explain you in layman's terms, so you can get better understanding how these things are working in the application.
We are consider us like in first standard.
So okay, sure. So basically, when we take example of any application, it has two different parts, like front end that we see on our devices, whether it is mobile application or websites, and the backend where data is kept, like databases and servers. Okay, so usually APIs are those interface. They are interacting with the application and the users to take their request, process that data with the database, and then it serves you the output. Okay, so as an integration engineer, my role is to. So basically, I belong to the fintech industry. So I go with the sales teams, okay, understand the client's requirement, and then we offer the most suited solution as per their business requirements. Okay, so basically we have certain products, and I'll ensure that I can suffice their business requirements utilizing all the available products. Okay, so as back to your question, so like OpenAI, there is a possibility, I'm not sure, but there is a possibility they must have some APIs that can be available in the business market. So that can be integrated with your application. So yeah, it is possible. We can do that.
So I had this discussion, Robbie, in my organization, that why aren't organizations, especially banks or fintech industries, not taking OpenAI or chat GPT per se? And they had this one problem was that OpenAI is sort of open source. I mean, it's outside the organization, and a lot of the information of banks is protected by banking secrecy laws, or GDPR is one of the terms that they throw around a lot. So it's that all that particular data is sort of protected. So it's not that they don't want OpenAI. It's just that they can't integrate OpenAI in the banks. So what they have to do is they have to do their own models of their own APIs or chat agents or etc. whatever, so that the data does not leak outside.
If I could recall with our first discussion, if you remember with Johnny, the first episode which was related to CISA, Information Security Auditor, you can have access to this AI model. It's a language model. So unless your information security officer approves it, what I understand from podcast was that those application which does not fetch data from you can be used in the system. Say, for example, Amazon, it doesn't take data from you. And the worrisome is that if the OpenAI model, if you are able to upload file in it, and and then it goes to their server, then that is not accessible. That is what I have understood.
Acceptable, that you're trying to say. Okay, so basically it should not go outside the firm's premises. That particular data should stay inside the in the servers of the company.
Okay, but ideally, the organization I'm working with, all organizations have their inbuilt AI agent. Okay, so they do not rely on any external entities for AI. Okay, because whatever inputs we are giving to the AI, that AI process that input. Okay, and it enhance their output. So there is a possibility that they might be storing this data somewhere,
Okay.
and due to compliances and regulations in the fintech industry, so we cannot afford that data leakage.
Oh, and how, so age old question, how did you develop an interest in this particular field, or why do you think that this is quite interesting for you?
Okay, so very interesting question. So when I started my career, I never imagined that I will be working in this domain or at this position. Okay, so initially, after completing my graduation, I completed my graduation with a very small college, and there is no scope for campus placement. So I started my career with the internships, and fortunately, I started my career with a startup. Okay, where all the members are very helpful, and they have entrepreneurship in their blood. So I learned more about the business, how business works. Okay, so there I get exposure with the various domains like data, like business, sales, and all, because we have a team who can do everything. Okay, and there is no special role assigned to anybody. So along with that team, I just get interested in all this stuff, like how business works, and our main goal is to serve the business purposes. So while working with that, I developed my interest in the Android development. So I started working on the Android applications. So while working with that, for financial reason, I get a better opportunity from one of the, can I name that? Yeah. So I got opportunity to work with HDFC Bank, specifically with the payment gateway domain. Okay. So I started working that, and there I started my career as an integration engineer. So my role was to talk to their clients, understand their business requirements, and then accordingly offer them solution. And in the entire process, I'm there to assist their development team in order to integrate our product. And if they are facing any issue, so I'll help there to debug their code and all. So this is how it started. After that, I started working with another one of the most famous payment giant. Okay, I not mention their name. Okay, and it's been 4 years now. I have worked with different payment payment leading fintech companies in India.
So, what is the basic qualification that is required for me to enter this industry? What should be my background? Are there any special courses like, okay, I need to learn integration engineering, or what should be like my background to start with?
Okay, so when I started my career, I was not aware that this type of roles are there in the industry, because it takes some knowledge. Means, as you mentioned, you can do some certifications for understanding of APIs, how APIs are developed, how APIs are working with the applications. You must have understanding of the business, how software is built, and the entire software engineering. But only benefit that you get, you no need to code fully. You are not involving in the coding application. So your role is basically aligned with the business part, like you are gathering all the business requirements. Then you are again aligning those business requirements with your product team and your software development team to ensure that we have products that are fulfilling these requirements. Okay, if there is any customization is there, then we build that application. So with time, you require the understanding of your domain. So as I mentioned, I work in the fintech industry. An application engineer or an integration engineer work in any domain. Okay, where he works with the two different application, and he ensure those application get integrated properly.
So you mentioned while we were coming together that you did engineering, right? I had I had a guest who also did engineering and he chose to do IT audit.
Okay.
And so you have also learned about coding. Can you do that, or is it the part of your curriculum?
Okay, so if you ask me about the academics, so yes, coding is there. Okay, we have coding, but we are not much into that because products are already there. Products are already built by our software development team. We are there to support our clients while they are integrating our products. So there is much about the debugging. So we help their developers to debug the code.
So basically, there's someone from the organization, and then you are there and you're representing your organization.
Yes.
You sit with the client, you say, okay, this is your system. These are the problems or these are the issues that you might face.
Yes.
To, integrate our APIs into the system so that you can take advantage of the front end and the back end.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So as a trend, like when you go to the client, do you see a lot of legacy systems or do you see companies are now opening up to the fact that, oh, now we have to develop our particular tech? Or
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're able to get the question, because I had this one employer I worked and they were working on systems which are like 15, 20 years old, and they were like four different systems. And as a agent, I had to like, check all the four systems. Is this particular client from this or this? But now, how do you see the trend? Like when you go to the
Okay, so I like you mentioned that. So I face these type of problems with the government entities. They usually don't update their systems and their technologies more frequent. But if you look at to the private sector, we have tech giants and they are open to the upcoming technologies. So we can see the upcoming trends in the technology. And I have seen even the fintech company or companies that I have worked with, they also sense this, competition. So product teams are working harder to build products that can be utilized by any application. Correct. To cater the all possible clients.
So a market standardization is already taking place, and that
Yes.
and you see that, okay, the trend is quite positive in terms of tech acceptance from these companies. Now, from a fresher's perspective, like what when they look at your role, like can a fresher directly be in your role, or they have to go through a certain levels and then probably, or certain type of experiences and then get into your field?
Okay. So fortunately, a fresher can be in this role as well. Okay. Because as you mentioned, fresher. So let me clarify some current situation in India. Okay. So if we look at the our education system, students are not that aware of the available roles. Okay. Everyone wants to work in IT, but they are not aware of the available positions or the how IT industry is working. Okay. So basically everyone is learning the front end or back end coding. Okay. So if you look at the number of coders that we have is very huge. And along with these numbers, and I'm not saying all our coders are capable to get the job. Okay. And we all are aware that AI hype. Okay. So it is very difficult to find a developer or coder who can write code that can be means that can be reliable or can beat the AI generated code. So it is very difficult for today's era to land in the software development job. Okay, same goes with the backend development because backend development data is there. So I think that is more responsible job. So you can get the job, okay, but it is little bit difficult because of the competition. Okay. Correct. But this type of role, you need the debugging skills. Okay. And you can acquire these skills with certain types of courses, online courses, and certifications. So, comparatively, it is very easy to get this type of job than the actual software development jobs.
You mentioned that there are like enormous supply of coders and the developers in the country, why are we not developing any application which is as good as Instagram, Facebook, or anything as such from India?
Because the requirement is different, and it is most of the time the play of your mindset, how you are looking at. Okay, if you look at the Silicon Valley, their developers wants to build something. Okay, in India, the approach is completely different. I want to work in IT because of money. Okay, so I'm not willing to build something. I'm here just to earn.
Correct.
Okay, so it depends on the mindset.
So we also have Michael in the studio, and who has a question. Michael, go ahead.
Yes, Nathan. So, like touching upon the point Johnny had mentioned about freshers getting into the job. So, very recently, I had read about an AI software engineer called Devin, who they showed a video demonstrating that it can write code, it can do debugging and build some feature for you in the demo video. So, what do you think? Like, what are your thoughts on this AI software engineer, and how do you think it will affect software engineers or integration engineers per se?
Okay, so very nice point. So basically, it is not going to affect the good programmers. Okay, so basically, even if you are using AI agent or any softwares, so you have to give them input. Okay, and that input should be precise. So you must know the basics for generating the quality code from those type of softwares. So it takes lot of experience. And as I can see, there are different roles are evolving, like prompt engineer. I hope you have heard
Yes,
of
the
that.
prompt
Yes.
engineer. Yes,
Yes.
I've seen interviews on YouTube channels where the one guy is asking prompt engineer, "What is your salary?" and the girl says, 40 lakhs. Are you crazy?
I also
Yes.
saw a meme like someone asks prompt engineer, what do you do? He says, I just keep rewriting English unless my work is done. It's kind of a joke only.
Yes.
So, okay. So, question to both of you: what what do you think? What do you think? Anyone who wants to aspire to get into your the fields that you both are into, okay? How do you? What is the most important suggestion or the most important point that you want to leave with them? That okay, this particular thought should be there before you want to do this.
Okay. So number one, be it any field, let's limit scope to software engineering because I know more about that. So be it either back end, front end, or data science or any other job role. Number one, I would say is focus more on thinking about the solution, because how you think, how you approach,
Sorry.
because how you think, how you approach any problem is something any AI would not be able to replicate. So you need to focus more on your approach to solving a problem rather than how to write the solution to the problem.
Okay. The Michael, you have mentioned very important point. Okay. So as I mentioned, I started my career with the startup. Okay. So I learned that it is important that you are solving some problem. Okay. So your approach should be focused on the solution, not the process. Okay. So initially, when I wanted to build some application, I will always thinking, okay, I'll use this technology because I know Java. Okay, so I'll use Java. I have learned Android, so I'll use Android. Okay, so I have learned over the past few years, your solution matters. Okay, no need to depend on the means skill set or expertise level that you have in the market. Already, there are companies that are providing same services. So it there is no need to reinvent the wheel. Okay, so it depends on the your mindset, what type of problem you are solving. Okay, so your idea is very unique and it is actually solving a problem, then you can utilize any available sources to solve that problem.
Yes, that's quite insightful.
And this was like a really nice session. I think one of the most technical sessions we went into, and I think this was quite good. And I hope and I wish we can do this session once again once things are getting more interesting and hot in the tech industry. So that was all that we have for today, and I hope you guys liked this particular session. Do let us know if you need some other insights and stuff, and you can always reach out to us on our on our regular channels, as you're aware. So this is it for corporate elements, and see you next time, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.